Joe Musgrove joining me now here on High Heat. Congratulations to you. Unbelievably well earned. Take us through your mind when you had that conversation, Joe, with AJ Preller, and you knew exactly where you're going to be for the next half decade.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. This has been, something we've been working on for, the last 4 or 5 months, really. At the start of spring training, we got into the initial talks and discussed, multiple different options from 5-year all the way up to 8 years. So it's been constant back and forth communication, negotiating. But ultimately, it was trying to get to a point where both sides feel like they're getting a fair deal, and I know both sides had to give a little bit. But yeah, it just when that contract finally gets signed and everything's done, just getting to see my family and the excitement that they have. Obviously, this is a place I've wanted to be. It's nice to have everything kind of fall into place.
It's the place that you want to be, but Joe, let's not forget you earned this. I mean, you have been a tremendous asset to that club. Of course, we mentioned the first no-hitter in Padres history, but you're continuing to produce every time you take the ball for this club. What's worked for you?
I think a lot of it's just kind of being curious and trying to constantly find somewhere to improve. I've had like this constant upward trajectory in my career. I feel like I'm somewhat peaking at the right time. But yeah, just constantly, trying new things, and a lot of it goes to, to the new coaching I've been around, to my new teammates, leaning on them a lot. The guys I was with this off season, I worked with Clevenger all off season. Nola cut all of our bullpens, so getting to have that, that togetherness and that stuff built in throughout the whole off season of working. We were able to carry that right into spring training and into the season, and I've had Nola catch a majority of my starts for the last year or so, and we just feel like we're getting on a really good page together of how to call games and how to use my stuff. So I'm out there just really executing, and a lot of the credit probably should go to Nola for the way that we're executing and the game plans and whatnot. But yeah, he's kind of the brains and I'm the muscle up there.
And ironically, Joe, you made your major league debut 6 years ago today. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but yesterday we were talking about it when I was up in the suite signing the contract. My dad was like, you got called up to the big leagues 6 years ago to the day. I think my debut was on the 2nd, but the 1st was the day that I got called up. And yeah, I'll never forget that. I got yanked out of the bullpen in the middle of an inning because I think McCullers had an elbow injury, so I'm warming up on the game mound in front of 30-something thousand people. I'm sweating bullets. I got the umpire kind of rushing me a little bit. And at that time, I'm facing Toronto, who was the team that drafted me, and that was back when Toronto had Donaldson and Encarnacion, Batista. That's when they were that massive powerhouse. And it was a lot of excitement, but that's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, you struck out 8 of the first 15 batters that you faced. Your first strikeout was Edwin Encarnacion, and I can't let you go, Mr. Musgrove, with talking about the rumor. It's not official yet, but what would you think if Juan Soto was playing right field behind you and Josh Bell was your first baseman?
Yeah, like you said, it's not certain yet, and I've been, around too many of these deals that have fallen apart at the last minute, so I'm going to wait until it's official to have some excitement. But the idea of having him back there, obviously at 23 years old, he's one of the greatest in the game, and he's only going to get better. I think anytime you have a chance to get a guy like that, you'll do anything you can. It is very difficult. I mean, I've been on the other side of this, of being the guy that's getting traded away, and having to say those goodbyes is very difficult, and it never gets easier. But, we're professionals, and we understand that it's part of the game, and that's kind of what comes with the territory of being a ball player is, it's a little bit uncertainty of where you're going to be and when you're going to be somewhere. So, the perspective is huge for them. So those guys will go over there and have a chance to, start something new, something fresh in a new place where people are very interested in them, and they're going to give them the opportunity to grow themselves into their career. So, the idea of having Soto behind us, though, and putting him in our lineup around Manny and Toddy and Luke, and maybe getting Josh Bell as well in there. I played with Josh a couple years in Pittsburgh, and he's one of the hardest working guys I've been around. And it wasn't the hard work only showing when he needed, when he was in a slump or when he was struggling. He was the guy that was in the cage after a 4-for-4 night, an hour after everyone left, and he was always constantly working. So the character of those guys is going to be a big addition to the clubhouse should this deal go down.
Not to mention you get Josh Hader in that bullpen. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had played some time with Hader, too. Me and him came up through Houston's system for a couple years together, and his transition from being a starter for his whole career and ended up being one of the best, if not the best, relief pitchers and closers in the game. It's going to be a huge addition to this team. And we've had some guys down in the bullpen now that have kind of been back and forth between starting and closing, or starting and bullpen. And, I think his experience and some of the things that he's went through could be very valuable to kind of pass on to some of these guys here.
All right, so did you tell Theo that he's getting a bunch more treats and maybe you can adopt about 27 other dogs from the animal pad there in San Diego?
I know it was a sad day yesterday because we had to take him in the morning and drop him off to get neutered. So I was signing my big extension and he was getting clipped. So it was a very emotional day at the Musgrove house.
Yeah, I would say that you probably got the better end of that deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we love the fact that
he's been awesome.
Yeah, he's a good boy. Well, I appreciate you so much for adopting. That's very close to my heart. I know the animal pad there in San Diego does amazing work for the rescue community. Joe Musgrove, you are a $100 million man. You are staying in San Diego. Well earned, my friend. Thank you so much for taking a time out on a very busy day for you guys to be with us here on High Heat.
Yeah, Lana, nice talking with you. Thank you.